All right. All right, Primo. Well, I'm going to let Primo do his business right now, and then he'll be back. So, here we are, Cuzos, Los Primos, starting our first podcast. How do you say podcast in Spanish? Podcast? El podcasto. All right, whatever. We don't know how to say it, but you guys get the picture, right? So this is our first podcast. We're pretty excited, pretty hyped. So what are we going to talk about? Well, there's a lot of things we're going to talk about.
Oh, you need to tell about the name.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Primo. Damn. See? Primo's on it already. Thanks, Cuzzo. So, our name of our podcast is going to be called El Movimiento Que Chingaos. Did we say Que Chingaos?
No, it was Que Chingaos Pasa.
Oh, Que Chingaos Pasa.
Yeah,
oh,
we
Que
should
Chingaos
say...
Pasa aquí.
No,
Oh,
because
no,
it's gotta be short.
Yeah, it's gotta be short, right? Like me,
That's
I'm
like
short. Right.
That's
okay.
That's like a salute to Mark Maron's What the Fuck. So
Oh,
like
okay, okay. All right. Hey, Mark Maron, we're using your What the Fuck, but in Spanish.
Yeah, I hope that you don't mind.
Yeah, don't try to sue us because we don't got money anyway. Anyways, all right. So, Cuzzo, El Movimiento. You go with the second part.
Oh, yeah, Que Chingaos Pasa.
Okay, there we go. We got it.
We need a theme song, though.
I know, we don't. Oh, you know what? I got an idea, Cuzzo.
Uh-huh.
I got a primo, another Cuzzo.
Okay.
That's an up and coming rapper.
You got a lot of primos, don't you?
I know. With my parents didn't have cable.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, he's an upcoming rapper, and I'm sure he'll love if we can use his music for intro.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll talk to him.
Cool. All right. So
let him know.
Yeah. So what is this podcast about? Like,
well, this podcast is gonna be our first podcast. Is gonna start about la danza.
Yeah.
Danza, and everybody. Well, what is the danza? It's dance. Well, it's not just the dance.
It's not like ballet dance,
right?
Or like I don't know, interpretive dance.
Right.
We're talking about because my cousin and I had been doing Aztec dancing.
Right, exactly.
And so, like, we wonder if people are like, what's up with the cousins?
What's up with the primos? What's all this huya dancing up and down?
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
what's
exactly.
What's up with all this voodoo?
Yeah, they got feathers and stuff on their heads, and
yeah.
they're half naked, they're trying to show bodies, and trying to show some skin.
That's what I do. I mean...
I'm not quite there yet, but, I'm working on it. It's tucking in that tummy. All right, anyways. So, yeah, this podcast is going to be about la danza. And pretty much we're going to try to explain in our own words what the danza is, what it means to us, pretty much how we got involved.
Yeah.
Our first gig, as you can say, I guess, our first experience.
And how people can, if they're interested in joining, like how can they, what do they have to do? Or like what is it like so that if they are interested in joining, they could...
Exactly, right. Yeah, no, he's right. Yeah, exactly, Primo, right on. If you're a single girl, a single lady, I'll give you, they can contact me.
You can give number to a cousin over here.
You can contact me and I'll directly put you exactly where you need to put it. No, I'm just kidding. No, anyways, Primo, I'm just playing. Yeah, anyways, yeah, exactly. We want people to know what it's about.
Yeah.
In this environment that's going on right now in this country, it's no longer a thing to do. It's a necessity because it brings you back to your roots.
Right.
And a lot of people don't really know the significance. I mean, we are just starting to know what it's about, what it means, how things play into it, religion, culture. Politics, because politics are involved as you have noticed of the things that we've shared, that the danza is also has its own politics.
I mean it's definitely something that is, for me, it's a prayer and a way to cope with, like you're saying, like all the crazy shit that's going on in the world, which is why this podcast is called "Que chingados pasa?" You know,
El movimiento,
like,
the movement.
Like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah,
oh my God,
yeah.
you know, like trying to make
¿Qué
sense.
ondas? ¿Qué truchas? What's, you know, ¿qué pasa aquí?
Yeah.
You know, kind of like
So Danza helps us, is one way that helps us make sense.
Exactly,
the
exactly.
world, and also to heal, heal ourselves and help to heal the earth, and heal, our communities.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. It's therapeutic in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, if people are asking, well, what do you do in the danza? Well, danza is it's a prayer, and you're dancing in a prayer. It's like you're praying and you're dancing at the same time. It's as fast as Zumba, and it's a workout just like Zumba, but it's nothing really like Zumba.
There's a lot of jumping.
Yeah, definitely a lot of jumping.
Yeah.
You know, so
you wouldn't think that there's a lot of jumping, but there are.
I know,
Yeah.
Like my calves started like getting a good workout when I first started, and I started getting cramps because I didn't stretch and stuff. So you gotta stretch also. It's like a sport too. You gotta stretch. You gotta move your arms, get all loosened up and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I ended up like all drenched, and definitely how like the leaders of the danza explained to us, it's a sacrifice that we do, or that we try to offer up the physical element as a sacrifice, as a way to lift up prayers, because that's what I started to understand too. It's like maybe sometimes the reason why danza feels so heavy is because like you're kind of lifting your prayers and like other people's prayers.
Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. It's como le dicen, oraciones, ¿verdad? Estás trayendo unas oraciones, estás trayendo las oraciones de tu familia o de otra gente.
Your ancestors.
Your ancestors, exactly. Everything like that is coming together, and when you're doing the danza, when you're moving in the danza with the beat of the drums, it's like it's like that's what your oraciones. It's just it's kind of difficult to explain, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you have to experience it like in your body. That's what I like about it, is because like you have to be. It forces you to be present.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I have some things to say about like how it feels like the first day, but like, I don't know. You want to talk about maybe?
Well, I mean, what I would like to know from you actually is tell us about the first time when you heard the drums, because that's always something for me. That for me, when I heard the drums the first time, that was pretty special.
Yeah.
But the moment you heard the drums, when what did that feel to you?
Yeah, like it was like our when you talk about danza with other people, with other danzantes, you talk about how the drum is a sound that you immediately recognize in tu ser, in your being, and that you immediately recognize it as something that belongs to you, right? Like it's always been part of you, and like there's something that you've been looking for.
Exactly.
And there's something about it where like there's something that you found all of a sudden, and then there's like this the drum is like there's this dimension of struggle, like when you do the danza, it's like a physical struggle, and it's also a mental struggle, and it's also not just for you, but like you start to think about like your community and the struggles that your community goes through, and it's kind of amazing how sound can carry all this meaning without like I'm describing all these different things that are packed into a sound, right? Like and it's like a split second. Like already took like a few seconds to explain it, but like with a sound, it's like it's immediate. Like you connect to it right away.
And you're right. It's only a drum beat, but it's so much more. It's not just like, oh, it's just a pounding of a stick and a drum,
right.
Like bam, bam, bam. No.
Yeah.
Each hit is like a significance. It's like your heart beats to the drum.
Yeah.
And with each beat is just a feeling that you, for a lot of us, for me, that I never had until I got into it. But yeah, you're right. That it's even what some people can call it a calling, because when you hear it, it's like, what where's that coming from?
Right.
I know that when I do danzas and I go to a danza, we're getting ready and they do the concha, and which is the calling, and they start hitting the drum, you see people like react to it. It's like, it's not like when you hear music on the radio and, oh, that's my favorite song, oh, súbele, whatever. Yeah, that's a good feeling, but this is a totally different feeling. Like, right. It's a feeling like let's say when you see a venado, he's eating on the grass and he's doing like this, and all of a sudden he stands his head up, and he looks around,
right. Something's going on.
Something's going on. Yeah. It's like that. Like you're like, what? Oh, what? ¿Qué what's going on? Kept catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, yep. I mean, that's I'm really glad you shared that with us, because I'm sure that other people, I would like to know what other people's feelings are too. It's a very interesting stories that other people have.
Yeah, because there's different danzas, as you know, and like
right.
Some focus more on the physical, like the performance
exactly.
element of it, and others focus more on the spiritual side of it, which I actually really enjoyed in our danza, that we focus so much on the spiritual, or at least we try to. And,
right.
And then this thing about the calling, it's like really present for me, just to like share the story of how I came to the danza. One was that at the beginning of the year, I had an intention that I needed something, or I was looking for something, and maybe it was even before that. Like often we talk about like maybe this calling was with us from even before, but just like recently that we started to kind of connect to it more concretely. But I was asking around, like all my friends, like where can I join danza? Like I was looking online, and I was having a conversation with another my cousin who I was telling her, like that this is something that I wanted to do. Like I was looking to find danza groups, and then she goes, oh, you know who it is? Our cousin, that cousin over there. Like it has been.
El primo,
yeah. El primo has been dancing already for like fucking 4 years.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, how come I didn't know about this?
Like he kept it in the, he kept it hidden. He's like, I don't want nobody to know. He half naked dances around or something.
So yeah, I mean, and so it was really a moment for me of finding out that here I was looking for something out there that seemed so far away, but it was so close to me already. And to find that, and then after that, finding out other stuff, like from my lineage, like my great grandmother, great grandmother was also a danzante in Mexico, and she was a healer. So I feel like it's in my blood, and it's in like something that I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And so it's like reaffirmation for me to connect with who I am, my identity, like all the different dimensions of what makes me up, and that's how like I came to the danza. Right.
It's so funny how you said that you were out there looking, like, because you even said in the websites you're trying to look, and it's not like they have a bunch of websites like saying, oh, danza here or whatever.
Like, yeah.
It's not like they advertise it when you're going to a baile or something,
or the Aztec dancing studio, or like,
like
classes, or
like if you're not going to Leonardo's or something, a club. Yeah, we're gonna have danza here. No, it's not like that. But definitely, it was right, really close to you, and which happens to be, me, your primo. was part of it already, and for you to find that and discover that must have been some some experience, because here you are like batallando, like, oh man. And then probably at times you felt like, oh, maybe it's not, maybe I can't, maybe I'm not supposed to go into it, or I don't know. But, yeah, things happen for a reason. And I'm actually really glad that you were able to discover it. It's your calling, it's a calling. And I'm glad that I was part of it.
Yeah.
I remember the first time that I saw them, and I remember I had just gone through a divorce or a separation, and I was kind of like lost in myself. Like I didn't really understand what my purpose was, other than, yes, I have kids and I'm supposed to be a father, responsible father. I'm gonna be there for them, but there was something missing in me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what. So, here I am. Well, I'll be like, okay, my tia, invited me to church one time, to La Virgen, el Día de la Virgen. And they were going to have something special, and it's that one where you go at 4 a.m. Man, to get me up at 4 a.m.
The singing.
Yeah. And I actually love all that. I love the music. I love the harmony. I love everything about it. So when she told me that they have it at the church, and go, and I said, all right, I'll go, and I went with her. That's the first time I heard the danzantes. They came in, and when I heard those drums, dude, it was like, damn, it was like this. It caught me. It was like, okay, you have me now. Mm-hmm. So when I saw them, and I was like, well, they do a pretty good job, and stuff. And I saw them, and they were there with their feathers and the cupiles, and I was like, man, I want to be part of that. I was like, it felt like, hey, this is for you. So I started asking questions, and I started, okay, well, who's in charge of the group? I started asking the people at church, and fortunately someone told me. I call her, from every time I see her, le llamo mi madrina de la danza, because she's the one that introduced me to.
So you're my padrino de la danza.
Yeah. So I have a madrina de la danza, and she's the one that sings in the church, right? She's got a beautiful voice, and she's the one that told me, look, this is where they practice. This is who you have to look for. And so she told me. So one evening I went, and they were taking their stuff off the cart, getting ready to practice. And I approached at that time I approached our compadrito, the primer palabra, and I asked him, I said, oiga, usted es de la danza, sí, and I asked him, oye, me gustaría saber más, me gustaría saber dónde practican, es cómo se involucra alguien, do I need to get a membership? Do I need to fill out application, or interview? What the hell? Like, hey. So he's all telling me, no, there's nothing like that. You just come. We do a practice every so at this time, and you're welcome to come in. Yeah, I know. I was like, man, what if I have to audition? Like, oh man, I was like getting all nervous and everything.
Get undressed.
I know, like you probably have to see, is this body fit for danza?
That's is his panza big enough?
Yeah, does his feet move well enough? Stuff like that. So. Yeah, I was pretty nervous, but you when it's a calling, that nervousness, you do it, because it's a calling, te está llamando, tú mereces estar aquí. So I went to the first practice, and I remember I was nervous as hell because I didn't know anybody, and you see all these little kids, and then you see these adults, and everybody's looking at you. So, I'm all there ready to practice. And so, I hear the drums and they start practicing. And I didn't know any of the steps, I remember. And I was like, I almost tripped 1 or 2 times. And I was like, oh, damn, they must think I'm clumsy or some shit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like,
Yeah.
al empezar ¿cómo le dicen los clumsies?
Torpes? Or?
Torpes,
Uh-huh.
Torpe. I was like, oh, damn. You know, and then you see the little kids and they're doing it all well and everything, and you're like, damn, man.
So, like, you're more stupid, I don't know. Like,
yeah, you feel more dumb. You're
yeah.
like, wow. So, anyways, you know, after they end up practice, they get in a circle, and they each one of them first the main guy or the main person, you know, talks and gives out his
It's called la primera palabra.
la primera palabra, which is the leader of the group. Gives out a little speech of, you know, how the practice was and how the vibes felt and so forth, and then he goes by order of rank, or depending, I guess in other danza groups it depends, by order, and he you know, if someone wants to say something about the practice or about something that they're feeling, they'll say it, you know, and they always say Él es Dios before and after they finish speaking. And I was curious as to why they said that. You know, I was like, Él es Dios, he's God. Well, obviously, I was like, obviously he's God, right? What they're just trying to say. But I still haven't found out the real meaning, but it's a sense of saying, okay, like, it's when you say amen or something like that, right? So, you know, when they got to me and they asked me, okay, pues tenemos una nueva persona aquí, se llama Pedro, hay que welcome him to the group, and so I said a little bit about myself, you know, and stuff like that. But after a while, I got comfortable with them. Everybody treated you, you know, with respect. Nobody said, hey, you know, you don't dance good or something like that. Yeah. It was a good feeling. So you know, I started going after. Eventually, you know, I would go, and after a while, you start feeling like part of the family. It's like a family, you know, it's una familia, and it is because you start getting to know each one.
Yeah, and you call each other compadrito and comadrita.
Right, exactly. I'm glad you brought that point up. Is you call each other's compadritos and comadritas, you know, and in a sense, it's because it's like when cristianos se dicen hermanos or hermana. It's in that sense the same way for the danzantes, you know. I you know, like I said, we're still trying to figure out a lot of the meanings behind what they do and what they say. Yeah. But they also have a secret handshake, you know, like right? Remember the one? Yep. And you know, at first I was like, what's up with that? You know, like, high five, what? You know, but you know, shit, hit the butt and stuff or what? But yeah. You know, that's
But no matter where you go, like if you may go to LA or like Santa Ana or somewhere else, right, you always do the same handshake.
Yeah, you always do the same handshake, and it's like it's a pretty good, cool handshake. You know, you do your normal handshake, you do a closure and a bro fist, and then you hit your chest. Bump. Yeah, right. And then you hit your chest, you know, your heart.
And then you scream.
You scream? Yeah.
No, you don't scream.
Well, it depends. It's up to you. You want to scream? Échale ganas. Yeah. You know? But anyways, no, yeah, you're right. Because it's a very interesting...
Yeah, there's the ritual about it.
Yeah, it's a ritual, has a significance. Yeah. Everything that you do in danza, everything from the moment you step in to the circle or you create the circle to the end has a meaning. Everything. Right, yeah. I mean, down to the drums, to the way your feet move, the patterns of your feet movement, and everything is it's a meaning. So yeah, you know, it's a good experience. I mean. Everybody starts new. Nobody starts a professional. Yeah. And you learn as you go. You know, you're not gonna learn everything in one instant. You know, you just have to keep going to the practice.
And I think what's like really important and special about the danza is that through it, like you learn how to let go of fear. Like exactly. Because you are the first time. So like my first day was like. Showed up and like I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that like I figured that it wasn't gonna be like somebody showing me like the dance step by step, like the danza, like the moves, and lo and behold, like that's what it was. Like just you just get thrown in there and like just follow whatever anybody
Right.
else is doing.
Yeah, you follow. What it is you get in a circle, or you get
Right.
in a some kind of formation, and the person in the middle is the one that's leading the danza
Yeah.
at that time. So how it starts is you all start in a formation, and you beat the drum. They start the beating of the drum, but they started with how you say is dándole a los cuatro vientos, or orando a los cuatro vientos, meaning
Yeah, you call the those cuatro,
the cuatro vientos, and
the four elements.
the four elements, and those elements also have a significance. From what I learned, when you're each direction is for a purpose, and like say one direction is for all the ancestors, los ancestros.
Right.
The other direction is for las mujeres.
Ah, okay.
And the other direction is for los niños, or the children.
Ah,
And then the other direction is for los hombres.
ah.
So each one has, and those are the
Ah,
cuatro.
okay.
So
Yeah. And then you go on the heaven and the earth.
right, the heaven, and then you do on the earth, right?
Yeah.
So after you do that, you've done that. Then you start with what they call it la cruz.
Right, la cruz o
La
la
cruz,
bendición.
la
right?
cruz
Yeah.
o la bendición. So you dance
Right.
to to the beat of the drum, but you do a cross with your feet.
As you're dancing.
As you're
yeah.
dancing, you're doing
Yeah.
a
That's
cross.
the way of like you pay respect and you're like asking permission.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
right. See?
Yeah.
And then after that, they what it is one person is going to be designated to lead that oración, or that ensayo, and they're going to be the ones that are going to start the danza, and then they go to another person and say, okay, in a sense they're like
Asking them to dance.
asking them to
Yeah,
dance,
asking
come
them.
into the circle, come in and do a danza, and then if they want to bring someone else, then they bring someone else.
Right.
So it's kind of in that sense, it's a little bit hard to explain
It sounds
when you don't see it.
Yeah, you know what's weird? Like I'm noticing right now, like in my body as we're talking about
Uh-huh.
it, like I wanna dance.
Right,
Like,
right. Well, yeah,
it's weird.
I saw you stand up, and I was
Yeah.
like, when I saw you move your feet, I was like, Remo, what's going on? Chiripiorca or what?
Yeah, it's like I can't help it. It's like just like
It's
yeah.
like a robot, you know?
Yeah,
No.
it's just like it's almost like it started to be the drum,
yeah.
and like it's like your
Yeah,
body
it's
just reacts to
right,
it. It's like
right.
it's something already.
Already
Automatic.
instilled in you.
Yeah.
So, tell me about. I was gonna ask you. I remember I went with you when you first got your first traje.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Oh, yeah. It was. So we went to this guy that works off of his garage and like has dedicated his time to. And it's a craft really to like artistically to like draw and like to really research some of the significance of the feathers that you use, the patterns, the colors, what they look like, and I remember there were two trajes, two vestimentas or whatever you want to call them, and one was a blue one. Well, the first one that the guy showed me, our compadrito, was the red one that I ended up getting that immediately was drawn to. Like I put it on, it felt so comfortable right away. It was the color of red, which was something that has been really present for me. Even with another friend that I had conversations about, this element of fire for me has been really transformational, because fire to me represents more of that asserting my identity and asserting just how I want to live my life. Because in the past, like I feel like I've lived through a lot of anxiety and a lot of fears and a lot of like trying to make myself small and not really like I don't know, not be noticed, like just like go through life like just not making waves,
Exactly,
and
right,
be invisible. Right. And until like that didn't work, it kind of blew up in my face, and I started having like a lot of anxiety, and so it was only by like embracing like a lot of physical things, like I started doing yoga, like I started doing all these other practices, meditation, and this was the one that's like almost not the culmination, but like it was a big part of my journey. And fire for me was really significant to like because I thought that fire was like outside of me, especially because like if you follow like astrological signs, like I'm a Pisces and I'm supposed to be water.
You're a Paisa? What?
Well, I am.
Oh, okay.
I am a Paisa and a Pisces.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right, got you.
Pisces, Paisa. Yeah.
All right. No,
By the way,
continue.
yeah, and I'm not, because yeah. I did cross the Rio Grande or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's for another podcast,
Yeah,
right?
I'll tell you a story.
All right, cool.
But yeah, and like I'm supposed to be water, right? And my element has always been water, and it's interesting because I find that now, like I didn't know about like rising suns or like rising signs, and like my rising sign is Sagittarius, which is fire. So everything started to make sense. So like, anyways, what I'm trying to say is like I discovered that the fire is not something to be feared. It's something to be respected with humility, and it's something that is not outside of you. It's something that's already inside of you, but you have to learn how to tap into it and not be afraid of accepting that it's inside of you already. So for me, that color of red and fire and this even my traje looks like a guacamaya, but then it has like eagles behind it, and so
right,
like,
it does, yeah.
Yeah, the comparito was saying like even use the word quiet, quiet aggression or something like that, or hidden aggression. That's
hidden
what he said.
Aggression.
Yeah, and I was like, that's totally me, because like I'm always,
hiding, but you're aggressive.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Like I'm always like very chill, like, but I don't want to show like my aggression. Like I'm always trying to like hold back.
Right.
But then like this, always there's something bubbling in the surface, under the surface. Right?
You don't got a knife behind you or something. No, all right. I'm just kidding. Okay,
yeah.
So no, that makes perfect sense. And when I first saw you put it on, not that I was checking you out, but okay, maybe no. It did fit you perfectly, because remember you tried the blue one,
right? Yeah,
and that one was like
it was weird, right? Yeah,
it felt like it felt off, like no,
like it was too big or too small, or like it was like crooked, and
right?
Like,
it
like
just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
But once you put that one again, then I was like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
It definitely went with you, and yeah, I remember him putting the feathers and on your cupil and stuff, and it was very, I think people might say we exaggerate, but it's emotional.
Yeah.
It's emotional when you get your first traje.
Right.
I remember I took my daughter, remember? And,
which, was also really special.
It was special because she actually was excited.
Yeah.
She liked, when we saw the cupil, when I first saw it, I knew it. That was the one. The one with the parrot.
Right.
And I was like, that's the one. And, we put it on her and we put the feathers and she loved it. And it was emotional because I felt that my daughter was being part of me, even though she's already part of me. She was coming into a world that I was comfortable with, and she was going to be part of it.
Yeah.
So, that was pretty emotional. The first time I bought my first traje, which I still have, I was a little bit nervous because my cupil, my penacho, and penacho is what you call the headdress, the head part of the traje. It had a skull on it. It's got a skull on it, and to many people that's kind of, I guess you can say, creepy or scary, or because the skull always signifies significant, ni puedo hablar, que pues para mucho es la muerte, ¿verdad? Pero when I got it, they told me no, it's actually not about like La Santa Muerte or anything like that. It's actually something that it's part of you, what you explained, the fire.
Yeah.
That's what it signifies, that the muerte, death, is actually something to be respected and to be.
I never thought about that.
And
yeah, it's very similar. Yeah,
it's very similar to what fire is, because people are like, fire is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's
right.
But it's the same feeling. It's to be respected. It's to be
because it's its opposite too. Because it's because from life comes death, and
right.
from death comes life.
Right. Yeah. And it's nothing to do with the Santa Muerte.
Right.
Nothing at all. So I was nervous about getting it, but then I was like, I put it on, and they're like, oh, it looks good on you. It looks firme.
Yeah.
So I got it. It was expensive, but and talking about trajes, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
It's
an investment.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
You gotta save half of your check one time and then come back for the other half. Like I'll get one feather now and then I'll get another feather 2 years from now.
So you're like, yeah.
But yeah, they're expensive, but it's well worth the money. And the feathers are another thing. Because those are not cheap. They're very expensive.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, and they also have a significance when you put it on your penacho, when you put it on your copil. Every time you're putting feathers on that, it's also like a prayer. From what compadrito was explaining to me was that
right.
when you're putting a feather on you're actually praying.
Mm.
It's like you're praying,
right.
because it's like you're getting ready to do something, something beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're getting ready to get connected with your ancestors and the creator. Right. And
yeah. And the different types of feathers have also different types of energies.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
From what I understand and from what I've heard, the owl and the eagle feathers are
very powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Very they're heavy. Not heavy because they're tan pesados, but
right.
They're heavy because of the
not to be messed with.
Right.
Toyed with.
Right, because of the creature that it's coming from. But yeah, it's definitely an experience. If you've never had it and you're curious about it, I would definitely say to go for it. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay in it. It's an experience that if you feel it, you definitely have to live it. My daughter's part of it. She's not all into it like I would want her to, but she's still part of it. She goes to my practice. Our practice once in a while. You've seen her.
Yeah.
My son, he's a teenager. He's not really.
She's getting into those years.
Yeah, he's really not into. He'll once in a while he'll come and play the drums.
Yeah. Because
he wants to learn the drums, but it's very rare. But I don't push them.
Right.
To get into it because I just want them to be able to. If they want to, they do. If they don't, that's fine.
It has to come from them.
It has to come from them. Exactly.
Choice.
It's a personal choice.
Yeah.
So, what else did you want to talk about it, the danza?
Well, yeah, just let's see. We talked about the first experience. We talked about just how healing it is, how powerful the sacrifices that you make, and the different feathers or significance. The first day, for sure. Like the point I was trying to make, just to kind of put an emphasis on that, is that you kind of it's kind of like life, or like you don't know, like que chingados pasa,
Yeah, you don't know.
But you're just like, you know what? Instead of like worrying, like, oh my god, like I'm gonna look stupid, or like,
because
wrong.
because let's talk about how when you get dressed, you gotta wear these tight shorts, and, your nalgas are kind of sticking out, like if you don't got nalgas, then hey, you're screwed. You gotta use the traje to cover you real good.
Yeah.
But and if like if you're not muscular built, like then you gotta kind of like tuck it in. And you're half naked, to be honest with you. You're but it's the meaning behind that. It's not because you just want to show off. There's a meaning behind why you're dressed the way you have to dress.
It's humility, and it's just, and again, it's like letting go of your hang-ups about things, and but then once you do, and like once you're like, there's like this space of not comfort, but like the space of like it's more light, and then all of a sudden it's almost like when you're sometimes when you do danza and like you're trying to think too hard about the steps. Like
Oh, right.
Because you're like trying to be like count and like trying to be like okay,
Yeah.
goes like this.
Uh-huh.
But like yeah, you do that like you practice right. Like
Right.
maybe like you used to do that too. Like you told me, and then like I do it sometimes. Like I look up on YouTube and like try to do like,
Exactly,
watch other
yeah,
people,
because
right?
you try to watch other people.
Yeah, and practice. But like the thing that I found is like when you surrender to the drum and you just follow the drum and the beat and you saw almost like kind of happens automatically.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like you just let go and it's
Right.
not about thinking in your head, it's about like feeling and just following and being in your body present.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that first danza that you had with us three, my daughter, yourself, and me, it was pretty special. I'm glad that the whole family came out to see us. It was a really good feeling. My daughter, just to see her on the video now, because when I was danza con ella, I couldn't really see her, but I can just keep an eye on her.
Yeah.
But when you see it from the standpoint of the audience, it's wow. It's it's a feeling that it's indescribable. And just to see her, because she's the kids son inocente, tan inocente como
Right.
and es bonito verlos.
Yeah.
And any kid, not just my daughter.
Yeah.
I just say my daughter because my daughter. But any
Right.
child that does danza, it's beautiful to see it.
Yeah.
Because it's innocence, la inocencia.
Yeah, it's unconditional.
Unconditional.
Like I don't know, unconditional acceptance and participation and
Right.
and because not any kid, like I don't know if I were a kid and I would be like her and be like, yeah, let's go for it.
Right.
Like, there's something about it about your daughter being like, yeah, let's do it.
She was, she's not like all 100% in it, but she was like, okay, yeah, I want to do it, Dad. And that was enough for me to say, hey, ¿sabes qué? I'm gonna go out of my way to buy her a traje, buy her feathers, which is all a process in itself. It's not only expensive, but you have to find her size. You have to look and stuff.
Yeah, like the compadrito was saying, it's a sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice, and it was definitely an experience to dance with you and her that day, and just to have a family out there and friends to come out for us.
Yeah.
It was.
No, I know. For me, it's like that's what made it special. I think it happened like as it was supposed to happen, and like I'm really glad that it happened this way because the entry point for me was like family, like actual family.
Right.
And I was able to connect to danza because it was already in my family, and I feel like any other way wouldn't have been the same. Like it needed to happen through family.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, it was.
So yeah, and we're talking about danzantes. My compadrito me dijo una cosa, and he says, el traje no hace el danzante, el danzante hace el traje, and it's true. Some of the people that do danza don't have to be in the greatest shape of their lives, and when they get into it, they really do it really well. It looks beautiful, regardless of what their body shape is or physical form. It's beautiful. Now, I'm not to say when I see someone, when you see a comadrita that's very attractive or very physically fit, and she's in that, and she does it, you're like, your jaw drops, and you're like, oh my God, I want to marry that woman. But it's because to see a Chicana or a Chicano, a well-fit Chicano or a well-fit, danzante, and he does it good and just to the beat.
Humility and like
humility and strength. It looks, God,
like kick-ass, bien perrón.
You're like, and sometimes I try to tuck him like that, and I'll be like,
Right.
But no, it is. I remember when I went to LA and did a danza there, and I saw this couple. Okay, era una chicana y un chicano, and they were both physically fit, and they were. Él estaba guapo. I mean, I'm not gonna say he wasn't. Y ella estaba bonita, but to see los dos, and they had a matching traje.
Yeah.
And it was like one was a coyote and the other one was another animal or something.
Okay.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I saw them, and I was there danzando con them, and I saw them together, and it just looked beautiful. I was like, wow, you know. And I was like, oh, I want a relationship go like that. You know?
Imagine? Yeah, like that would be amazing to have like your pareja, you know, being in the same like danza and sharing the same space and
exactly
understand
understand how much it means to you.
Yeah, like
and understand the significance and you know, you're on like in a Google Gaga land because you're like so well. You're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful, you know. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of attractive danzantes. I can't help it. Right. I'm a man, you know. I got eyes. What am I gonna do, right? Yeah. But yeah, you know, it's a good experience. It's a lovely experience. If you guys have never experienced it, I recommend to do it. You know, just even if you just go and practice and don't even do the danzas, just practice is good enough because you're still gonna get the same feeling. Right. You know, of being in it. Yeah. And most of the groups, to be honest with you, most of the groups, the ones that I've encountered, most of the people are very respectful and very cool, you know, nonchalant people. They're very receptive of you. If you're new, some of them will actually go out of their way to teach you. You know, it depends too on the group, but most of them are pretty good. You know, I've met a lot of groups. I've met, you know, some people are kind of like, oh, you know, it's an asshole or something, but most of the people are very, very receptive. You know, you get to meet a lot of people too, because also what happens with the danzas, and when they have a danza, an actual danza, sometimes they ask for support, apoyo, le llaman el apoyo. Other groups come to support that group, to back you up, and that's how you get to know. It's like a networking thing, right? You know,
that reminds me, like, because there's so much, there's the level of respect that it's instilled in you. I mean, some groups have more of that culture than others, depending on where you go. But like as an example, like let's say you belong to a danza, like a group, right? And then like if you go and want to participate or get invited somewhere else, there is a process. Like you have to ask permission, and it's not that you're asking permission to the leader to be like, oh, like, will you like slap me if I don't ask permission? It's just more a formality.
You're right.
Like to show respect, right?
Yeah, you if you're in a group, if you belong in a group and you want to go to another group and say you want to support them or you want to practice with them or so forth, you have to, as a formality, you go to your el capitán, what should they call it, capitán, or la primera palabra, and you ask them, hey, I'm thinking about going to practice with this group, or I'm going to go support them. Is it okay? Would it be okay? Or in that sense of form. And most of the time, they're going to say yes. Right. And they're going to give you the la bendición or the blessing and say, yeah, go ahead, go for it, Yeah. But you also got to remember that when you do that, you're representing that group. Right, yeah. That where you're going. And, it's...
Yeah, the funny thing is it just occurred to me, like, that's why, like, sometimes, like, people find out about that you're in danza and, like, they ask you, like, oh, like, maybe sometimes they think that it's like I mean, they get it, that it's a sacred thing. Right. But also, it's like there's this a level of performance. And some people do, like, they only focus on the performance of it, right? But for me, like, there is this sacred element to it. So, like, I've been asked, like, like, if we're, like, in queer spaces, like, if I were, like, if danzante, like, in almost like a go-go dancer or something, it'd be like, I don't think about, I could picture, like, asking the danza group, like, permission to do that, like, or like, in Halloween, like, it's not something that you're like, oh, I'm gonna dress up in, like, danzante costume and go to Halloween, because that's not
that to me is actually
very sacred.
And people, I'd be surprised that people ask, like, hey, can I borrow your from your Aztec thing to go for Halloween?
Right. But although, I mean, not to hate on. Is it too early to get into race?
I know.
Well, because fuck it. I mean, like, there's the appropriation from like, a lot of times, of especially from white people. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see things like in Halloween.
Yeah.
Like for example, you've seen costumes of white people dressed as like Native Americans with like the headdresses,
Pocahontas or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and those vestimentas, they're also sacred. They're
Yeah,
also part of
yeah,
their,
exactly. It's
like
definitely
this.
so. Yeah, you're right. It's not a costume per se to say, okay, I'm gonna dress up for Halloween. It's same thing. Like I guess we could put it in this perspective, in which I've also seen that it's not a great thing to do, but. When people ask you to use your military uniform for Halloween, it's in that kind of a sense. It's your uniform. The military it's kind of personal. It's sacred. You don't just give it to someone for a Halloween costume because you either did battle in it or whatever. And it's the same element to when you do when you have your traje. Someone asks you, "Can I use it for Halloween?" It's not for that reason, But yeah, you're right.
And I guess I'd also like to say that it's a sacred space, and there's a lot of reverence for it. But that also doesn't mean that like we're how do you say it, like. We also like to joke around about it, and like we like to keep it lighthearted, and like not take each other's too seriously. Because like sometimes you'll go that way too. Like
there are danzantes that are really strict and really, así como tú dices, they're not. You make a joke or something, and they're already like gonna reprimand you or something. They're like write you up or something. Okay, what's your group you belong to? And I'm gonna take a feather away.
But yeah, it's.
Yeah, I think there's a level, a limit to what Yeah, I mean we're humans. We're gonna do stuff like that.
I think that's how I like to think about it. Like as like I put an alarm for.
Put an alarm for it? Oh, that's right. We're almost done to the hour.
Commercial break.
Yeah, commercial break. Yeah.
But not just to finish. It's like, like there's, what's I gonna say? Yeah, there's different levels of where people fall in like how conservative or like how rigid you want to be, and
right.
But for me, like, it's more about like I was saying, like letting go of like that seriousness of like, oh my God, it has to be this way, like that. For me, that's what's been healing about it for me, like being able to just occupy that space in humility, but also like stepping up and being like, here I am. Or like the compadrito was telling us, like, okay, so what if like you're maybe overweight,
Yeah,
like,
right.
When you put your costume, like you own it, like
you gotta own it, like you gotta show what you got,
like
hey, what does it say? Show what your mama gave you.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's your ass or or your panza. And also like, cause some of the like to get into the symbolic, like some of the pieces have phallic symbols.
Oh yeah, because it goes straight down the middle of your crotch.
And you're like, oh, like if you're like all ashamed.
You're like trying to hide it,
like, no, like own it. Just like like this is. I mean, what?
It's right here.
Yeah.
Here you go, ladies. Check it out.
Yeah, or gentlemen.
Or gentlemen, or whatever. Because they do have that. He was saying they have a certain shape and certain the way they go on you, and you gotta own it. It's like when you put a new suit or something. You gotta own it. You gotta show confidence in it, and that's in a sense that's what you gotta do when you put on a traje. When you go out there and you do a danza, you gotta just own it. You gotta show it.
I love that idea. By the way, like. So the compadrito, the leader of our group, what was the last 2 weeks ago, he was talking about how when because there's a portion of the practice where you light up the, what's that called, the burning of the What's
Oh.
it called? I want to call it. It's not incense, but it's like the.
Ay, ya se me olvidó también.
So, anyways, you burn it, and then maybe it'll come. But like you're burning it, and then it's like you're carrying the fire, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
But for the group, and he was explaining that when a comadrita or compadrito is doing it, like it's for them to step up and actually take ownership of it and leadership of it, right? And like it's not, you can't like be shy and be like, oh, like or not what I do, but more like I don't know, like you're trying to like you were saying, like you own it, like you're
like oh, me voy a quemar or
exactly,
something,
or fear, or like, oh, I'm gonna do it wrong. Like no, it doesn't matter how you do it or not. I mean, it matters, but like it's more about like I'm grabbing this and like because the fire calls for it.
Right. Yeah, you gotta grab it, like you know.
No te puedes achicar, like it's
like you gotta grab it.
You have
with,
to be strong.
Yeah. If you're a man, grab it with a pair, and if you're not, grab it with a pair of ovaries. Yeah, you gotta grab it.
Right.
You know, it's like it's true.
Yeah, and that message of strength for me is like wow, you know, it's like such a powerful message.
Yeah.
You know, to step into a moment.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking like, you know, you grab it and the smell and you're like, oh, I want to put some weed in it, you know, like, you know, people like, I wouldn't be surprised that people would try to do that, you know, it's just.
Yeah. Like
anyways, it's crazy the way some people think, but, it definitely, when you carry that responsibility of that fire, it's a heavy responsibility, and you gotta treat it with respect, with what it means, because you are literally having the group in your hands. The vibe is in your hands, the energy, you know, and most of the time. It's gotta be, well, not most of the time, it has to be positive energy, because you know, if there's a negative energy, it will be shown, it will be seen, something will happen that'll be like, oh, you know, tiene una energía mala, como dicen, you know, so you definitely have to carry it with a lot of strength, a lot of respect, and confidence, you know, own it.
Yeah.
And that's part of being in a danza is learning the responsibilities, learning the significance, learning the meanings, and you know, and we're learning as we go. I'm still learning. I've been in it about a year, 2 years, and I'm still learning, you know, about everything. So it's definitely an experience. Next time when we have this podcast, we're gonna try to actually have a guest from a danza that's been in it for years. He can give us a little bit more meaning as to history,
so much,
a little bit more elaboration on everything. But like I said, if you feel in it and you hear the drums and you want to be part of it, go for it. I mean, you know, we'll be trying to figure out how we're gonna pass on the word of how they can get in touch with people. That'll be in our next podcast. So stay tuned. But definitely we're gonna talk about a little bit more about it. But we're gonna have a guest. We're gonna talk about how the religion plays in it.
Yeah, we've mentioned it, but there's all these contradictions.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, and maybe they're not contradictions, maybe they are. But
right.
You know,
no, I feel the same way también. I mean, I have a lot of questions,
like,
but
there's like colonialization, and but this is supposed to be, at least for me, it's supposed to be a way of keeping traditions, but yet you're incorporating like the colonialist sort of aspects of it, and danza, and it's like a fusion, and like you don't even know what to make of it. So,
exactly, you're like norteado, and you're like, okay,
you're like, oh, que chingados pasa?
Que chingados.
So hopefully together we'll be able to,
definitely. what being this our first podcast, are we gonna be like we welcoming questions or what are we doing? Oh, we're not live though.
Let's take questions from the audience.
Oh yeah, I was like, we're not even live. We don't know that.
But microphone over there.
I know. Okay, give me line one.
I know we could be like Oprah. You get a car, and you get a car.
But no, we'll be like, you get a feather. You get a feather.
Right.
You get a, you know. But yeah, definitely we'll talk a little bit more about it. The certain aspects, the politics of it too, because it plays there's politics, believe it or not.
Human beings.
Yeah.
There's always politics.
There's always politics. We'll talk about the names of the songs, the type of dances, the name of the dances.
Yeah. There's fuego, fire.
Right. Where did it originate? How did it get to the States? Well, well, it's not that it got here because it was probably already here. You know, we've been here more than 500 years, so not that it came from Mexico. I think it was probably already here. It's just people just, you know. But yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more about the origination of the danza, pieces of the danza, of the trajes, the drums, the drum line. That drum line, man. When you see them play the drums, and they get into it, dude, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's, you know, they hit it like with a meaning, like as if, you know, what it's like the last thing they're gonna do in their lives. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. You know, so yeah, I guess being this our first podcast, we don't have any audience to ask for questions.
Nobody's listening. See now, that's our cue. Like,
that's our cue. That's our out. Órale. Well,
they're kicking us out.
They're kicking us out. They're kicking us out of your own house. Yeah, you guys are okay. That's it. But anyways, yeah, definitely we're gonna come back in our next podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It's my primo. We're the cousins. We're the primos. We'll come back at you. This is called Movimiento. ¿Qué chingados pasa?
Yeah, ¿qué chingados pasa? And there's our airplane right there.
Oh, there's our airplane. That's our background sound effects.
There's going to be our theme song.
Yeah, our theme song's going to be a plane going by. Anyways, but yeah. Anything else you want to say, cousin?
No, just until next time. And hopefully this was somewhat helpful. Right. Yeah, and we'll talk next.
Órale, Simón que sí. All right, thank you.